What's up, everybody? This is PT, the Sneaker Preacher, back again with God's Word, no cap, and we're talking about relationships and how we can break up without breaking down. And I've been getting questions of why we're going into the series, and the thing that I want you to understand is that the relationship falling apart doesn't mean that you're a failure. All relationships are going to come to an end. Even those that are death duels part may end with someone we love dying. So we have to figure out how to deal with the loss in relationship, but especially we're focusing on what to do once the relationship has ended because of a breakup. So just because the relationship is falling apart doesn't mean that you're a failure. This thing has come to an end, as most things will do in our life. College comes to an end. High school comes to an end. Middle school comes to an end. Jobs, certain seasons and careers come to an end. Relationships do the same thing. So we're looking at breaking up without breaking down. All right. So the first thing I want us to understand is that we can be better, not just bitter. We don't have to be bitter. We can be better. That's a line I borrowed from Lecrae in a song. I don't want to be bitter, be better. I'm working on switching those letters. And so the focus here is how can we be better? All right. And the first thing that we can do to make sure that we're better and not bitter, because bitterness is allowing anger to live in our body, set up rent free in our head and in our heart. And so what we're going to do is go through the 5 stages of grief first. What you want to do is allow yourself to process the end of the relationship. Allow yourself to go through the denial phase where you're kind of confused. You're trying to figure out, is this really real? Is this person trolling me? Is this person punking me? Am I really at the end of the relationship, or are they just trying to figure some things out? So you're experiencing denial, and it may be accompanied with anger, right? You may actually be angry. You may be frustrated because what you want to happen is exactly the opposite of what is actually happening. And then you phase into the bargaining stage where you're either negotiating with God, you're negotiating with your loved one, you're negotiating with yourself. Hey, if we could be this, or if I could do that, then we can get back together. And that may be met with depression because you can't find meaning in the end of the relationship yet. You're reaching out to others and you're telling your side of the story, and it just is settling in your body that this relationship is coming to an end, and it's the realization of a loss. Because I think we kind of determine loss as someone dying, but in actuality, losing a job, losing a sibling, and losing a relationship are all forms of grief. You're grieving the loss of this experience. All right. And then last but not least, as you transition out of depression, now you're ready to embrace acceptance. You're exploring options, you're making new plans, and you're ready to move on, and you're preparing your head and your heart to accept something new. All right. And so now what we have to do is we have to, instead of being bitter, we be better by incorporating multiple forms of self-care. Multiple forms of self-care, starting with the physical, right? We got to get up, we got to get out of the bed, we got to take a shower, we got to start moving around, right? We got to allow our body to function and do things that make us feel alive, right? We also got to try to move into areas of emotional maturity and forgiving ourselves as well as the individual that may have initiated the breakup. And if we initiated the breakup, we have to forgive ourselves for maybe causing someone else pain. But you want to incorporate these next two, social and spiritual, kind of go hand in hand. You want to find people who elevate your mood, who help you level up in this next phase of love. You want people who will help you level up in the next phase of love. All right. So you want to bring some people into your circle who are positive, not just going to meet you where you are, but they're going to help you get to where you want to be. So in the social phase, you want positive social media, you want positive social interactions, you even want positive music. Don't just listen to music that reflects what you feel, but it elevates you, it helps you level up in the next phase of love. In your spiritual center, you will now reconnecting with God in a way that maybe you had not while the relationship was going, and you're asking him how to help you in the next phase. Then finally, seek self-improvement. Seek self-improvement by setting boundaries. You're not going to allow the negative talk either on social media or in person. You're not going to allow those avenues to your heart. You're not going to allow those avenues to your brain. Those things that bring hurt and shame and pain from the past, you're not going to allow those. You're going to actually set up boundaries that cut those things off, that keep them from coming to you. Then you're going to set goals. You're going to move toward being a better version of yourself, not because of the breakup, but in spite of the breakup. I experienced the end of a relationship, and I was determined that I was going to make the dean's list, because the narrative then becomes not that Rashid ended a relationship. Rashid was a successful student in this semester, and he just so happened to maybe break up with old girl, right? So I didn't want that to be what the focus was. I wanted to now shift my focus to the future. I was going to be a better student this month. I was going to be a better student this semester. And by the end of the semester, I was going to be on the dean's list or the honor roll, right? And I also joined an acting group. So one of my goals was to find a creative outlet and experience greater academic success. So that becomes a part of my testimony. And my focus now is the acting, going from state to state, doing plays with a group called Willing, Succeeding, and Black, and then also experiencing academic success. That way, I was able to level up in the next phase and prepare myself for the future, because I focused on it, I set goals for it, and I set boundaries that protected myself in the here and now, so that I can be ready for what God had next for me. All right. So that's the way that we can break up without breaking down. This has been PT, the Sneaker Preacher.